From Westfield State University, The Parliament with Tyler Hadley. Tonight's guest is Wiley Olmsted, featuring Drew's News Update, and Kelly's Corner, Whip City Sports, and Dealing with Dave. And now, here's your host, Tyler Hadley.
Oh, hello everyone, and welcome to today's installment of The Parliament. I'm your host for tonight, Tyler Hadley. That's great. You're all great. Thank you. So, I don't know how many of you out there are gamers or not, but Sony just released their 20-year anniversary edition PlayStation 4. And believe me when I say that this thing brings back memories. The console and the controller have that same gray matte finish that the original PlayStation has, along with the old school PlayStation logo. It's awesome. I just made the switch from Team Xbox to PlayStation not long ago with my purchase of a PlayStation 4. And I have to say, I like what I have been seeing. But hey, I'm curious as to what everyone else is playing out there. So hey, leave a comment below. Just keep in mind that Sony also released some new themes for PlayStation that makes your startup tone what it was way back in the day. Do we have a sample of that? Oh yeah, classic. And nostalgia is killing me. Also, on a related note, Sony Corporation was recently hacked by an organization and released secret passwords. Oh, say it isn't Sony. Get it? You'd think a high caliber company like this would have better password security than Password or Sony123. Who's leading the security over there anyway? Sly Cooper? Let's get it together, boys. Alright, moving on. We have a great show ahead of us tonight. We have Whip City Sports, Kelly's Corner, Dealing with Dave, and our very own May Randall is sitting down with our friend Wiley Olmsted to discuss his new coffee shop. Can't wait for that one, so stay tuned. And now, it's time for Drew's News. Hi, I'm Drew, and welcome to the Safari episode of Drew's News. I'm going to read you some headlines as quickly as possible. The 76ers have some reason to smile after getting their first win. Only took them 8 games. 2014 to be the hottest year ever measured. Jobless came back. 300,000 unemployment rate report on tap. Wisconsin joined dials 911 after search for Santa. Shocking news, electric eels exert remote control over threat. Report, Tim don't have the same rights as humans. Oldest engraving rewrites of new view of human history. Is Bigfoot in Britain? Photos and audio proof something. It's teen girl arrested, tweets, my mugshot's yeah. Peanut butter and jelly Pop-Tarts are back. 5,000-pound Michigan bridge stolen in Michigan. Lawsuit college, youth, strippers, students, why can't my school? Hacker group, Blizzard, I'm done. Something about the future, huh?
You make me wear my bike helmet. You taught me never to run with scissors. And to follow the swimming rules.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
What do you think it would be like to teach? Chances are, you have no idea. Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
Hello, my name is May Randall and welcome to my show. Today our guest is Wiley Olmsted, a local business owner. Wiley owns the coffee shop, The Proletariat, which is brand new to Northampton. Welcome, Wiley.
Thank you, May. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So tell me, why did you decide to open a new coffee shop in Northampton?
Well, as you know, there are already a few coffee shops in Northampton, but the way I was looking at it is it's a quality over quantity thing. Our coffee is the best you'll find, it's the most ethically made, and it's the most delicious. So I hope you and everyone in Northampton comes and gives it a shot.
So the name The Proletariat, some people are saying it's a bit unique. Can you explain why you decided to name it that?
Well, I wanted to make a coffee shop that was made by good people, it's for good people. So I thought that got the message across pretty well. Yeah, I mean, all our coffee's fair trade certified. It's made with the highest quality and care, and yeah, that's about it. Mm-hmm.
So I went in there the other day to check it out right before this interview, and the atmosphere is a bit unique, to say the least. Can you tell me what kind of atmosphere you're trying to go for your customers?
Well, I wanted the coffee and conversation to be at the forefront. I see a lot of coffee shops today that have pretty much turned into offices. If you want to bring your office with you to the coffee shop, unfortunately, we might ask you to leave. We also have a no cell phone policy. We like it to be all about coffee, making conversation with people, and enjoying yourself that way, and freeing yourself from the wires and the world outside.
So I'm wondering what kind of food and drink options you have available.
Well, we offer our 3 specialty roasts, dark, darker, and darkest. All of them are very earthy, just the right amount of spice and acidity. We take extra care to make sure the coffee is served at the ideal temperature of 138 degrees. As far as food, we offer Danish daily, quiche, and we have a special nut of the day. For us today, we have roasted almonds.
I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm laughing because, you know, I met Wiley a little bit ago, and he's just the most serious guy I've ever met. So the Hampshire Gazette, I was reading the other day, they named your coffee shop as the most expensive in Northampton. Can you please justify me a $4 for a small? How does that work out?
Well, the coffee you're drinking right now is an affront to my senses, truly. It's made from the blood and sweat of poor farmers in third world countries. Every sip you take is plunging a collective dagger into the souls of fairness and ethical business practices. Our coffee, which I have right here, is made ethically. If you have a problem with that, perhaps you should continue drinking the devil's milk.
Dude, I cannot do this. Okay, next question. Can you please explain the contracts that you have for your customers that are next to the registers? Are they optional? Do you have to sign them? How does that work?
Unfortunately, we were not able to make these a requirement due to Massachusetts state law. Signing the contract makes you an official proletariat patron, which gets you a free cup for every 5 cups you purchase, reinforces your commitment to fairness, and makes you sign the pledge that you are not going to use any electronics and break the sanctity of the coffee shop. So while I couldn't make a requirement, it is highly encouraged.
Well, thank you, Wiley, for being here. That's going to do it for us. If you guys want to check out Wiley's coffee shop, it's located at 535 Main Street in Northampton, right next to the hand-painted pottery shop. Until next time, good night, Pioneer Valley.
Welcome aboard the African Safari. Just kidding, this thing could be poison ivy for all I know. Drew was here. This is the sports segment, and I am Mike Drew alongside my friends Anthony Swenson and Nick Odell. Can I get a round of applause for this segment? Good enough. Okay. So, guys, what are we going to talk about? We're going to start off with the Patriots, right? Because we haven't been here for a couple of weeks because of the Thanksgiving holiday. First of all, how were your Thanksgivings? I feel obliged to ask.
It was great. I spent it at the Cape.
Anthony, how was yours?
Great watching football and eating. It's always awesome.
Well, it wasn't at the Cape, so I'm assuming it was all right. Anyway, so we're going to start with the Patriots. Obviously, the loss to the Green Bay Packers, 26-21 last weekend. We had mentioned, guys, I think in previous shows, if there was going to be a game for the Patriots to lose down the stretch, this was it. On the road at Green Bay against an elite team. So you really can't be all that shocked that they lost, but they still had their chances in the end and almost came away with this thing.
Yeah, the Patriots. The Patriots played a hell of a game. The Packers came on top, but the next few games, looking ahead to the next few games, the Patriots will do just fine. I mean, you just said if there were ever a game to lose, it would be against the Packers. So, Patriots are just fine.
The one game I'm worried about coming off, I mean, the Packers game was a very close game. 2 elite teams, 2 elite quarterbacks that are going to be in the playoffs, maybe in the Super Bowl. This might be a Super Bowl matchup that we're looking for in the future. But the team I'm worried about is the Miami Dolphins playing against New England. Just the way that defense has been playing. I know I said they're going to win out, but looking at that defensive front, almost beating Peyton Manning with a secondary that was destroyed of injuries.
Okay, but you realize what you just said, though, right? You're counting on the Miami Dolphins to give the Patriots problems. And the next game they have against them is not in Miami either.
It's in New England. I understand that.
Okay.
But you always have to be worried of that front line. Brady is never good against the Dolphins front line or Buffalo Bills front line. So you got to watch out for that.
What were you going to say?
Anthony, it's a different season in the second half of the season for the Patriots.
Of course it's a different half.
It's a different excuse me, sorry, I'm battling a cold.
That would have been nice to know.
It's a different style of football for the Patriots. I mean, they're playing really well.
Yes, I do think they're going to win out, and I think they're playing very well. But you got to watch out for that kind of. Cameron Wake is just a monster off the left end. He just causes torments for all these elite quarterbacks. Look at Peyton Manning. He was troubled by him. Look at Tom Brady at the beginning of the season. He was troubled by him.
But Tom Brady's a different quarterback.
But you got to say Cameron Wake. You're not telling me you're saying Cameron Wake's not an elite left end?
Elite? Are you kidding me?
Kidding me? He's one of the best left ends in the league.
Cameron.
Do you realize we started this conversation off about the Green Bay game?
I know, and
now we're here. I'm just saying.
I know,
right?
I know. But
exactly at what point did I lose control of this segment?
From the beginning.
Oh, okay, all right. Anyways, all right. So the Green Bay game. Let's stick with that for a second. It may be. Your biggest takeaway from the Green Bay game was what? From that game specifically?
Was the refs.
Okay.
Because that
See, this is a good point.
This refereeing core is the most called offense and defensive pass interference calls, and they did the least amount of calls they've had all season long.
Well, think about one call they did make early in the game when Akeem Ayers had a sack, and it was going to be 3rd and long for Green Bay from the 5-yard line, but they get Browner for hands to the face, and then that drive continues on. But yeah, they didn't throw a lot. There was a lot of contact and no flag.
They don't call that on Browner all the time. They're watching for Browner. That's the one point about Browner I really don't like. Every refs look at it. All the refs in the NFL look at him saying, hey, he's going to be one that we're going to look at all game long because he's a physical corner and the new rules in the league.
Well, the biggest takeaway I have is the quarterback matchup. I mean, both quarterbacks, Brady and Rodgers, were, if you look at their stats, they were evenly matched. But hey, Packers offense really outdueled the Patriots offense.
Yeah, in most cases, you have to be perfect to beat Bill Belichick at his own game, and that's exactly what Aaron Rodgers did on Sunday. Okay.
Yes.
Moving this thing along, let's go to our second and final subject, which is the Boston Red Sox. And, man, since the last time we were here, they have made some crazy moves. Obviously, one of the signings we predicted was Pablo Sandoval. He is now in as, we presume, the new third baseman next year. And an old friend, Hanley Ramirez, has come back. And they say he's going to play left field here. But this is a big-time risk. Hanley Ramirez was signed for 4 years, $88 million. He's 31 years old. That's a massive deal for what he is at this point in his career. We know the guy can hit. But, guys, this is really risky, especially knowing the type of personality Hanley is.
It's also risky because, last time the Red Sox did something like this was in 2010, 2011 offseason when they signed Adrian Gonzalez and Carl Crawford. This is the same exact thing that they're doing. And, Mike Drew, you were on my radio show the other day, and you gave us a
nice plug of me right there. Thank you. Yeah, no, keep going.
You gave us a detailed description of every possible scenario. I mean, I just loved it. So,
and I love this free agent signing because of one thing. And I said this before. Cespedes is leaving, and I'm so happy about this. He should not be on the Boston Red Sox this year because he's going to be leaving the year after, and it'll be a great trade piece for this season. It'll help the team. I'm not very big on Pablo. I think he should have got less money. They should have had a weight clause in his contract. But at the same time, you can't say no to a guy who's a World Series MVP.
Clutch postseason performer, but the problem is you got to get to the postseason.
Exactly.
And the thing with Hanley Ramirez that we were talking about, Nick, I mentioned this to you the other day, like you said.
Yes.
Hanley Ramirez is a dog.
Oh, yeah.
He is a dog. He's going to play when he wants to play, and that's it. This guy has a major attitude, and I'm just waiting for the Hanley being Hanley signs to show up out in left field like another Ramirez used to do a few years ago.
But I'm fine with that because if you had somebody like Manny and he won us a championship, maybe the other Ramirez can do it.
That gives me some solace in Hanley playing left field too, because my philosophy is if Manny Ramirez can do it, you and I could do it.
Yeah.
So maybe that
maybe he'll do.
Maybe that's encouraging there. Obviously, the next domino to fall is going to be huge. It's going to be John Lester wherever he goes. We've been over this, so we're not gonna go through that again. I just want to close this discussion off before we have to end this segment and get out of here without getting hit by poison ivy. The way that the Red Sox have acted, Nick, you touched on this a little bit.
Yes.
Very similar to what happened in 2011.
Yep.
And I'm going to plug one of my roommates here for one of the first times ever. I'm going to plug somebody that I live with. His name is Connor Swan. He writes occasional articles for The Voice here.
Yeah.
And basically, I don't want to discredit Connor, but basically when Connor writes an article, it's basically an extension of me, because the two of us have conversations on the reg, as the kids say, about these kinds of topics. And the other, I guess Connor wrote an article about how the Red Sox are totally reactionary. And it is completely true, because right now, they don't have a plan. There is no plan. They are completely reactionary. Like I said, the last time they were this bad was 2010. They didn't make the playoffs, so what did they do? They went out and they wanted to revamp Nesson. They wanted to revamp their marketing. They wanted to get the Pink Hats back in the ballpark, so they got Adrian Gonzalez and Carl Crawford, okay? So now, then they win the World Series with a bunch of character guys and the biggest case of lightning in a bottle in the history of sports.
Yes.
The worst baseball team to ever win a World Series in 2013, right, based on talent.
Yep.
And now, I know I'm dominating this, I'll get you guys into a second, but I have to digress. Then, last year, they are so bad, they somehow were worse than the year that they had Bobby Valentine managing them, so what do? We're back in the cycle again. Now we have to spend big money and get people back interested in the team with big names. It's the same thing. They don't actually have a plan. They're just reacting, in most cases, to how bad they are.
Yeah, definitely. And Mike, you're on point with everything, and I agree with you 110%. I think...
Shocker.
I think, and I have to agree, it's like... It's a cycle for these Red Sox, so and we'll see.
What do you got
what
on
has
this?
to happen with the different outcomes.
I disagree on some points, because the 2013 team was not that bad of a team. You're saying it's the worst team that's ever won a World Series.
I believe it is, yeah.
It's not the worst team that's ever won a World Series.
I think it is.
But you're saying they're reaction-based, but they're really not. I think they have a plan in play. In 2013, they had a plan in play. Get all guys with great characters and see what happens. They won a World Series. So, and then they tried it this year. They didn't do so well. Injuries came about and other things came about. Lester got shipped off for Cespedes. But what's going to be the big point this year is signing big guys. Like, I'm thinking this is their plan. Big guys means big championships. So, see what happens.
I don't think so.
Why don't you think so?
Because, as I said, if the Red Sox sign, are you saying, if the Red Sox sign longer contracts? Or
No, sign big-name guys who can win them a chip this year.
Doesn't the chemistry factor work into there?
But the chemistry factors only goes so much. Yes, 2013 was a great instance of chemistry, but that doesn't always happen.
Hey, we'll see.
Well, you left Nick speechless, so I think that's a good point to end on. So we're going to get out of here. And thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Nick. Nick, I will see you. Actually, I'll see you both at hockey later on.
Yes.
We have a hockey broadcast to do, so we got to get out of here. And right now, we're going to get you to some more show coming up. We have Dealing with Dave on the way. So thank you for watching sports, everybody. We'll see you next time. And Dealing with Dave is coming up soon.
Across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, helping solve child hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of Dealing with Dave. Audience, get an applause, maybe? That was good. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so on today's show, you may remember a couple months back, we had a competition between my panelists regarding some old laws that are still technically in effect. These laws are pretty ridiculous, and they're referred to as blue laws here in the U.S., but nonetheless, they are still on the books. And that was so much fun, we're going to do it again tonight. So let me introduce my panelists for this week's show. We have, starting from my left here, Mr. Mark Riffenberg. Audience? Yes, thank you very much. Great. Next to him, we have Mr. Trevor Ortiz in the building.
Thank you.
There it is. Wonderful. And finally, a returning guest, Mr. Patrick Bartell.
Champ.
Wow, Pat. That was great. Okay.
People love me.
So the way they do love you. The way this is going to work is I have the 3 laws here written up in crumpled pieces of paper. I'm going to mix these laws up, so I don't know where each one is. And then I'm going to pass them down the line here. So you guys don't know what your law is. It's completely random. And once you guys have your laws, I'm going to have you read them aloud, and we'll start the debate. All right, so Mark, this is yours.
All right.
Can you pass this one to Trevor, please?
Certainly.
And then this one goes down to Pat.
There you go. Thank you.
Great, okay. All right, so Mark, can you start us off, please, and read your law aloud?
All right, so this one's pretty practical. It says that in Britain, it is illegal to operate a cow while intoxicated. And I think, honestly, this is something that we can learn from here in America. I think the American people for far too long have been plagued by cowing while under the influence. I think certainly one thing, it's honestly very moving to me that we have something like this that's happening in Britain, where people are no longer allowed to operate cows while under the influence of alcohol or marijuana or what have you. And I think it's important that we bring that to the United States too. This isn't just arguing over spilled milk. These are cows. These are very big animals. It's important that we're all of our faculties when dealing with these wonderful creatures of nature.
Wow, very valid points. Now, Trevor, what do you have to say to that? No, what do you have to say against Mark's point?
I get that, and
All right.
I want Pat to go first.
You want Pat to go first? All right, Pat, what do you have to say?
Fight against that.
Well, I mean, it's your cow. I mean, if you want to saddle your cow and ride and get hammered, you should be able to do that with your cow. I mean, I don't see a good reason why you shouldn't be able to do that. I don't see any negatives that could come from riding a cow while intoxicated. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Great.
I think I would have to agree with that. I mean, I would be very boring, very basic, and say, I would agree with you. You're right. You're correct. Right here. Yeah.
Great.
All
Wow.
right.
All right.
Hit around the nose.
That ends the cow debate. Trevor, can you please read your law aloud and then tell us why you think it's a good law?
In Britain, it is illegal to handle salmon in suspicious circumstances. Yeah, I believe so. I believe if you're handling anything, in suspicious circumstances, it could be anything. You don't know what it's going to be. It could be, a gun. Who knows? This is really weird law. This is a real law?
Yeah, it's still on the books in Britain. Believe it or not.
I have
to be careful with your salmon.
It's be hard to, yeah.
That's the law. That's
right.
the
Seafood
rule.
poisoning.
All right, well.
I don't know. I don't know.
Seafood poisoning. Okay, Pat, what do you have to say against that law?
Well, I would like to know just how you would use a salmon suspiciously. I mean, maybe the salmon may shoot a piece of metal out of its face at a high velocity and hurt someone. I don't know. How do you handle a salmon suspiciously? I guess I'm confused by the law.
The world will never know.
Strangely enough.
Mark, what do you have to say?
So I would just build off of what Pat said. Let's say you figure out a way to use a salmon suspiciously. Where in the United States Constitution does it prohibit me from using that salmon in such a manner? Has the president passed down legislation that says you cannot handle salmon suspiciously? While that may fly over in Great Britain, that certainly doesn't fly here in the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Fantastic.
God.
Okay, now Pat, can you
Wow.
finish us off here? What is your law, and why do you think it should still be in effect?
Well, apparently, in Switzerland, it is illegal to flush your toilet after 10 p.m. And I can't think of a more reasonable law, because let's say you're in your house, you're about to go to bed, and then all of a sudden your neighbor from across the way flushes the toilet. That could wake you up, because there's a lot of people coming back from the wars with PTSD. You never know. People get very emotional, and it's just common courtesy. Don't flush your toilets after 10 p.m. I plan to bring this to the United States as soon as I'm elected mayor of Westfield.
Go ahead, Mark. Wow. All right, Mark, what do you have to say?
I'd like to actually kind of involve the audience on this one. Could we get a show of hands? How many people in this audience have frequented a Taco Bell or a Denny's after 10 o'clock? Can I get a show of hands? So just for the folks at home, everyone in the audience, including Mr. Dave Langlois, is raising their hands. And on that, I'd like to rest my case.
Yeah, man.
All right, Trevor, what do you got?
I agree with that as well. I mean, how many times you get home after 10 o'clock and have to use the restroom? And is
happens
it
to the
going to be a
best of us.
buildup? There's going to be a buildup. It's going to be really bad in the morning. So I think that's ridiculous. I think that,
You're ridiculous.
he's for it.
Well, all right. Well, that settles that. So, audience, we get a round of applause for all the contestants. You guys fantastic. Okay. So now, just like we did before, we're gonna go down the line here. I'm gonna say the person's name, and I want you guys to applaud for who you think the winner was. So the person that gets the loudest applause is the one that won this debate. Okay? All right. So I'm gonna start with Mark. Everybody.
I agree.
That was great. Perfect.
Oh, don't be silent for me.
All right,
I
so
saw it. She was like, be
Mr. Trevor Ortiz in the middle. You got a couple.
They felt bad. They felt bad.
You got some pity claps.
Yeah, I some
All
pity
right.
claps.
All right, now finally at the end, Mr. Patrick Bartell. Oh, man. Was not expecting that. Great, okay. Well, I think the winner is pretty clear here. Mark Riffenberg, you are the winner of the debate today. Yes, thank you. Do you have any words for the people out there?
Don't drink and cow, I guess.
Don't drink and cow. Great. All right, well, that settles that for this episode of Dealing with Dave. Everybody back there at home, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Take care.